guy in Kentucky came to my office and had found 800 gold coins in a cornfield. Sold the deal almost 20 years ago for almost $5 million. There were coin dealers that went bankrupt at the coin show. The biggest mistake you can make in coins is to buy something high grade that's common. And my teacher was Ken Brissett, editor of Red Book, which I eventually took over 40 years later. My name's Jeff Garrett, and we are at the 2025 Central States Convention in Schaumburg, Illinois. And it's probably about my 45th or 50th Central States show. And I think I've ever had a bad one. This has been a great show.
Awesome. You just did your talk on the Kentucky Hoard. Could you talk a little bit about that? How did that go?
Yeah, it went really, really well. About 2 years ago, a guy in Kentucky came to my office and had found 800 gold coins in a cornfield. And that sounds like a pretty simple story, but the coins were buried in 1863. And I've actually got a couple of the coins here. I can show you a couple of them.
Oh yeah,
but
awesome.
I did a talk about it, and I kind of call it my little talk tour, and it's about a half an hour or so talk about. The guy calls me up one day, starts with a mysterious phone call, meets in the office, does like a slow reveal. He's got this one coin that's worth $10,000, and all of a sudden he's got 3 of them, and they're worth $100,000 a piece. Then I find out he's got 18 of them, and then he's got 800 coins. It was like just the craziest deal of all time. And if you haven't seen the presentation, what I did today was the Numismatic portal, and it's online. People can watch it online. And it's about a 45-minute presentation, and it's really a fun story to hear about. It's one of the crazy. I've done a lot of crazy things in my career, things that have come my way, and it's pretty close to the top of the list.
Yeah, that's insane. I didn't realize it was you who was like.
Yeah.
Were you like cataloging it or helping him?
No, he
auction,
came into my office after he found him. He didn't even know what he had, and then he came to my office, and I took care of the explained to him and helped him. He basically had won a lottery ticket, and he was looking for the place to cash his ticket.
Right.
So my job was to get the most for the coins, and then also to make sure he stayed out of legal trouble. That people didn't attack his land and dig it up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we successfully did that. I was just looking at the presentation. It was 2 years ago this year. So we just got that accomplished. So it's gone real well, and it's still. I still like telling the story because it's just a crazy story.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, they were. This is one of the double eagles from the treasure, but this is not the rare one. This is 1862S. It's an 1862S double eagle, and it is that's probably about a $10,000 coin. The 1863s that were in the treasure, we sold for $250,000 a piece. 3 or 4 coins.
Wow.
They were unbelievable. So you can see it in the back of it. There's the back of it with the lesser stuff. It's really neat.
And so what were they found in? Was it just in the ground?
They were in the dirt. Yeah, they were in the dirt, and they have been pretty much. They were one of the coins had the imprint of a canvas sack in it, so it was almost for sure in a canvas bag when they were buried. Probably about 2 or 3 feet of dirt.
Okay.
But if you get if you're watching this, go look it up and see the video. It's really a lot of fun. I mean, the whole presentation is a really fun story.
Yeah, for sure. So how long have you been in the coin industry?
I've been doing coins professionally since I was 16, and that was 1974. So this year it'd be 51 years. So I've been doing coins, full time as a job, to doing it. So
okay. And where did you get your start? Was it at shows like this, or
I was
in a
really lucky, and I encourage anybody watching this. When I was 14, 15 years old, I lived in Tampa, Clearwater area, and there were coin clubs everywhere. And I could go to coin club almost every few nights. There would be one in my general area, the Tampa Bay area. And there were a lot of mentors there, and taught me things, showed me coins, and then there was a few little coin shows down there. And so I started when I was 12 or 13, but by the time I was 16, I was actually doing it professionally, making money doing it.
Wow.
By the time I was 17 or 18, I was doing really, really well with it. So it was kind of, my timing was good, because in 1979 was when the gold and silver had the Hunt Brothers. Silver went to $50, and it was like a big boom in the coin business. So my timing has always been really, really good.
Okay, so have good timing. That's one.
Yeah, that helps.
Tip.
Well, like right now, I mean, you're young, you're in the hobby now, and gold's $3,000 an ounce. That's pretty crazy.
That's insane.
It's insane. Yeah, and also now, you're young, you're in the hobby, and someone invented the internet. I mean, there's so many things that can stimulate the hobby that you're at the right place at the right time that can be very fortunate.
Yeah. So do you remember a specific coin that made you fall in love with the hobby?
Yeah, Lincoln pennies. Lincoln pennies for this. So I very, very, very first started was someone gave me a Lincoln folder for Lincoln pennies like 1941 to date, when I was collecting in like the 70s. And I would go in and go to the bank, buy some penny rolls, and then pull the coins out, stick them in the thing. And I'm really compulsive, obsessive disorder thing. And having empty holes in the catalog drove me crazy.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I had to go find those coins, and just got me hooked on the hobby. So Lincoln pennies, definitely from the very beginning, Lincoln pennies were my thing. So I got into and loved them.
Okay.
And
awesome.
I just got obsessed by it.
Yeah, I mean it's a very collectible series.
Yeah.
Still going today.
Yeah, and also the Whitman folders with the holes in the albums are still a magic. I mean, if you're watching this, if you want to get a kid hooked on coins, buy them an album and give them some coins and start filling holes. And most of them can't stand holes in the albums. It still works its magic.
Yeah, it's just a good time too.
Yeah, it's fun to look for this stuff. You never know what you'll find in circulation.
Yeah. Do you remember the moment that you knew coins would be your career?
That's a good question. I think yes, a little bit. In 1974, I was 16, and I won a scholarship to summer seminar in Colorado, A&A, and I'd never been on an airplane before. So first time I'd flown on an airplane. Went to Colorado Springs from Florida, which is a big adventure when you're 16 by yourself. And when I got there, I took a class on colonial coins, and my teacher was Ken Brissett, which editor of Red Book, which I eventually took over 40 years later. And when I was there, we buying and selling some coins, a little hustling among the kids, which they still do. I mean, if you're young people that go to summer seminar, they all at night they're buying and selling with each other, doing the exact same thing 50 years later that we were doing at that time.
Yeah.
And I said, this is pretty fun, man. I can make money doing this. And then I kind of realized that, I'm actually pretty good at it too. So this is something I think I can do well. And by the time I was in high school, I kidded people when I was in my senior year of high school. I had a better car than the principal did. So I was like, this is really, really lucrative. I like that. I like that idea. So
yeah.
I had a 1976 Pontiac. What was it? Pontiac something. I can't remember. I remember the car was green. I'll never forget my first car I bought with coin money. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
In high school.
In high school. So yeah.
Very.
Paid for it in cash too. So
get started now.
Yeah, now.
Okay, this is a good one. If someone gave you $100,000 to start a collection from scratch, would your first 3 coins be?
To start a collection from scratch. That's a good thing. So I'll tell people the biggest mistake you can make in coins is to buy something in high grade that's common. Like 3-cent nickels are kind of cool in proof, like 65, but don't buy a common day one, because that coin has been the same price for 50 years, 40 years. Back in the 80s, that coin was $300 or $400. Now they're $400. So they didn't go up.
Yeah.
And what goes up are scarce coins, because as the hobby grows, there's more demand for those lower number coins. So, for instance, if you had 100 grand, here's how I would do it. I would start a typeset of coins, like one of every type, but then buy the rarest one you can find of each type.
Okay.
So if you're going to buy a Lincoln penny for your set, get an SVDB. If you're going to buy a Mercury dime, get the 16D. It's 30 Washington quarters, get the 32D. Because as the hobby grows, there's more demand for those rare coins, and they'll go up in price, and they have gone up in price. If you buy a 1932 Washington quarter, there's so many of them that you couldn't add enough collectors in the world to make them go up in price.
Right.
So it's really always going to be common. They're cool, they may be fun to collect, but if you're really looking for something that's going to be a good return on your money, it's stay with Rarity. And then the other thing is find something with a good story, because people love stories.
Yeah. And
that's why the books I write is a lot of the stories.
Gotcha.
So, hope that's a good advice for somebody.
Yeah. So it's that your 3 picks would be 1932
Washington?
Washington?
That would be good. I think if you start a typeset, and I think I would do, maybe I would do like a 2.5 Indian and do an 11D. That would be good, because that's a short series. People can complete it, but that's the one they always need.
Yeah.
SCDB penny is great. Other one I think is great is the Fugio penny. I love the Fugio, because that's a coin that, the very first coin ever made by America. Next year is the 250th anniversary of the United States, and there's going to be a lot of interest in our colonial history.
Yeah. How accurate is the claim that Ben Franklin designed the Fugio set?
I think everything I know is I think he was certainly involved and influential in the design, because some of the colonial notes that he did has that same that ring thing, sundial, and I think so. I think Mind Your Business. I think it's definitely all about Ben Franklin. Gotcha. I believe that story.
All right. Cool. So you've been to a lot of coin shows.
Lots of them. Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've seen happen at a coin show?
I can tell you the craziest thing happened. So this is interesting. So this is this month's edition of the Centennial, the Central States magazine.
Okay.
So I wrote an article in here, and it says, and it's about the market crash of 1980. So this is a really good story. So if you want to show a close-up, this is my photo ID when at that coin show.
Awesome.
That was pretty brave of me, I think, to put that out there.
Yeah, that's an awesome.
From 1980. So that's 45 years ago.
Wow.
But at this coin show, the coin market crashed. Coins were from the beginning of the show to the end of the show, coins are worth half what they were at the beginning of the show. So it's because the bullion market crashed, and all the dealers, the coin market at the time was very immature, and most of the market for rare coins were for dealers, not collectors.
Okay.
Dealers bought most of the coins. They took their bullion profits, bought rare coins. All of a sudden, all their bullion profits disappeared, and they were losing money. And coins literally crashed at the coin show. And it's really a fun story. You should read that. It's a short little article, but it's something that can never happen today because there's too many collectors that have the demand.
Yeah.
They will support the market. But literally, there were coin dealers that went bankrupt at the coin show. So that's probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen at one coin show. That's a true story. And there's less and less people now still alive that were at that show. It's 45 years ago. But it was everybody has crazy stories from that coin show. What happened?
Yeah, what in the world? I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's a true story, and read that article when you get a chance. It's a crazy story.
Yeah, can I take a picture of it?
No, you can have the magazine. You can have that magazine.
Oh, sweet! I'll read that on my plane right now.
Yeah, read it home. It's good. So, but it is a little bit of a cautionary tale. Nothing goes straight up, and something could happen, and I always tell people when you're in the coin business, you got to protect the downside, and things can change.
Yeah.
It depends what happens. But luckily it's funny, like the coin market keeps getting what I call like bailed out. It's like coin market's like floundering, and then all of a sudden third-party grading comes up, makes a big demand. The coin market's kind of floundering. Someone invents the internet, demand goes up. Now the coin market flounders. Someone invents social media, another big demand. So it's like these big mega trends that have happened that keep the coin market stimulated. And it seems hopefully that won't end, but that's what it's kind of an interesting way it works out.
Yeah, we're looking at some point in the future trying to bring coin shows into virtual reality.
Yeah,
and
it would be
so I'm thinking that's maybe another.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Direction.
I mean, people, I still think people love coin shows. I still like going to them. You get to meet legends in the hobby. You can see coins that you could never see, and seeing them in real life is really a neat experience. And I give it a little bit to people. To me, it's like Vegas. For years and years and years, Vegas was the only place to gamble, maybe Atlantic City. And now there's a casino everywhere, but Vegas is still doing good because, you might go to a little casino locally, but it's still when you want to go to the big show.
Yeah.
You want to see the real deal, see the real thing. So, and coins are sort of experiential, I think, and I think coin shows are still a good experience.
Yeah, no, for sure.
A lot of fun. It's fun.
I like being here more than I do the office.
Yeah, it's a buzz. You get to see a lot of stuff happening, and it's a cool thing. And it's all kinds of crazy stuff you see.
Yeah. So is there a coin that you think is undervalued right now, and why?
A coin is undervalued.
Could be undervalued from an intrinsic
what I think I really like what I really like that people may not maybe a little esoteric to do, but I really like ancient coins because I think the ancient market is still immature. American collectors have just really in the last 5 or 10 years discovered it. About 10 years ago, I have a whole ancient division now.
Yeah.
And I love ancient coins because a coin, if it was a U.S. coin, is similar rarity, and it would be worth 10 times as much.
Yeah.
I think they're underpriced, and also it's a global market. There's a demand. Everybody, no matter what country you are, you would be interested in Greek coinage. Coins are beautiful. I personally, when I put things away, when I save for myself, it's ancient coins.
Yeah.
So I don't save U.S. coins. I buy and sell those.
Yeah.
But I save ancient coins.
Yeah, I think that might be, if not the only right answer, one of the best answers I've gotten so far.
Yeah.
Ancient coins.
I think they're very underpriced. They're very cool.
The fact that you can have them raw over there for $20 a pop, $40 a pop.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And that'll change because they're harder to get in America, and I think they're just a great coin to have.
Yeah.
I love them, and some of them are just absolutely pieces of art. They're really just gorgeous.
Okay, this is the last one.
Okay.
It might be the Kentucky Hoard, but what's the coolest deal that you've been a part of that you like to brag about a little bit?
Well, the coolest thing I've done, the coolest collection I've ever been involved in, is not the Kentucky Hoard. The Kentucky Hoard is cool because of its, the treasure aspect.
Yeah.
But the neatest collection I ever did was called the Dukes Creek Collection of Gold. And there was a guy in Georgia, this is probably going back 15 years ago, maybe even more, but he put together the finest set of Dahlonega gold, a complete set, gold dollars, 2.5s, 3 and 5s. And every coin was mint condition, and the average condition was like MS63. So we sold the deal almost 20 years ago for almost $5 million. So it tell you a significant deal that was. So that was by far the coolest coins that I had ever, of a collection of like, it had taken decades to put together. I got to liquidate it. And actually the collection got broken up for the wind, except for the $5 gold pieces are still owned by one person. They're all in one collection.
Okay, that's cool.
And to tell you how cool it is, the 1853D $5 gold piece is grade MS67.
Wow.
So there's nothing, the finest Dahlonega gold piece.
That's insane.
It's staggering. So that was probably the neatest collection I've ever had a chance to handle. It was fun. And it was fun. It's been so long ago now, I barely remember. I need to do another one like that. So.
Yeah, next time one pops up, call me and I'll record it for you.
I'm here. I'm ready for everybody. Let me know.
Awesome.
Well, I hope that helped you out.
Yeah, that was great. Anything else you want to say or plug or mention?
No, I just think that I'm glad to see young people like you guys out there trying to spread the hobby, get the love out there. It's all about the stories, and it's to me, it's what makes the hobby fun. Is the personalities and the great stories. That's what good.
Yeah.
It's good when you can all share it, and it's not all about making money. But to me, I go to these point shows and I see my best friends here, so it's really good for a great community. So, awesome. But I appreciate you having me be part of it.